Today we're going to enter Immune, Part 4. Now today we're going to focus on the cut inside the book Immune, a journey into the mysterious system that keeps you alive. However, this is a very complicated subject, which happens if you puncture your toe. So this is why even the cut is going to be in subsections, into sub-videos. In Immune Part 4, we'll talk about what happens, the whole story of a cut. And we're also going to talk about other players inside the immune system more detailedly, such as the macrophage, the neutrophil, and also, one of the most important people, the dendritic cell. And now, without further ado, we will enter the cut. You're hiking in the woods. Then suddenly, you feel a piercing pain in your right foot. You look down and see a pin in your foot, bleeding a bit. You pull it off, cursing, but continue hiking. For yourselves, well, it's not pretty at all. In fact, for them, it's a full-blown alien invasion. Well, this is not going to be very scary sometimes, but you have to think if your invaders are going to be bunny-sized invaders, because that's actually the real comparison between a normal cell and soil bacterium. The invaders, or bacteria here, are overjoyed to see your defenseless cells. However, your body can contain lots of resources, including the cells. They can invade them, take their proteins, and also poop everywhere, which can cause toxins inside your bloodstream, which is bad for you, very, very bad. Your cells scream in panic, getting the attention of macrophages. Macro, we're going to look at this word firstly. Firstly, macro and phage. The word macro is the opposite of micro. Microorganisms and macroorganisms. Macro means big, and micro means small. So here already gave us a sense of big, very big cells. Enormous, gigantic, huge, whatever you're saying. Then there's the word phage. There are lots of words around phage. For example, bacteriophage. A bacteriophage is a special virus that feeds on bacteria. Now here, the macrophages are rhino-sized cells compared to other normal cells, such as your skin cells and fat cells. Rhino-sized cells that literally devour invaders. They eat the bacteria, but there are still too many, so the bacteria call reinforcements. They call up neutrophils. Neutrophils are seriously crazy suicide warriors that destroy anything, even yourself. This concept is very hard to understand, so we're going to specify now and going to analyze this paragraph. Now, we're going to go back to the point where you cut your foot. See here? Sometimes you can also scratch yourself, but in this case, we're going to use the pin example. Very classic. Well, once you pin up, the bacteria immediately are released into the bloodstream, traveling around your body. But most of the time, they're just contained. They're also linked by other cells, such as mast cells and others. Here, the macrophages. Macrophages, they're the hulks of our immune system. If they sense an enemy, because they can't see, all cells can't see, the first thing to do is to grab it. See here, they have little octopus-like arms. And once they sense an enemy, most of the time they immediately grab them and then envelop them using their skin or outer layer. Once they envelop them, they pull it inside their bodies. See here, they pull them inside their nucleus and other organelles. Finally, the back goes into the macrophage and gets devoured and also dissolved by acids and bases inside the macrophage. That's the basic mechanism of a macrophage. But yes, however, there's a small problem here. Macrophages get tired out, just like a people. just like people. If a person eats too many fries, burgers, and soda shakes, they still get tired out eventually and can't eat, or they're vomit. Same is for macrophages. If they eat too much, they tire out, or goes into a passive form, where they are not needed. Neutrophils, as we talked, are crazy suicide warriors. And this is not a joke. They have a limited time life, like most cells, however, it's usually at a few hours end. Once that hours end, they just clean up themselves, they die, or commit suicide. So your body don't want to waste them, especially in a full battle here. They immediately release them into a bloodstream and they let them go nuts because since they have little time to live. This includes vomiting out acids, capturing them, such as the macrophage, same technique here, and also if it's too dire, they explode, literally. It's called a neutrophil net, and this net envelops bacteria into a net of acid. However, even after that, sometimes they can still fight. This example can actually demonstrate how your body is so, suicidal sometimes. And the most crazy thing about it is that macrophages are careful. Well, at least compared to the neutrophil, of course. It's not really careful compared to others, such as helper T cells, and also dendritic cells. The macrophage, at least, eats only the enemy. The neutrophil, well, since it has limited time like a bomb, they destroy everything in their paths. They kill bacteria. They kill viruses. But the worst thing is that they also kill your own civilian cells. They kill anything in their way until they explode, commit suicide. If you were a robber, they would be the guard. But instead of pointing at you and trying to shoot you and shouting stop, they would A, first grab you, B, they would rip open their chest and also grab out their spine like a whip. And then you would scream. But it won't stop. They'll just keep hitting you with their spine, bones splattering across your face, your body. And finally, if it's too dire, they literally just will destroy you. They'll rip you apart, eat you, and sometimes even exploding themselves. That's a really scary scene for people, and that's exactly what happens for bacteria. This demonstrates how your immune system is scary and suicidal at times. Now, despite this being all I wrote, there's still a lot going on. So we're going to give a preview of our next video by giving a short introduction. After, if all of the suicidal warriors are destroyed and your macrophages are tired out, another cell comes true. The dendritic cell, seen here. The dendritic cell is your intelligence officer and not a fighter. They grab bacteria and eat them, but it's not to destroy them. It's to know what they're onto, know their DNA, their RNA. And if they sense that something they ate is bacterium, they go around the bloodstreams into the lymph nodes and lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is sometimes known as the immune system, but it's just a subsection of it. After you go to the lymphatic system, which is the bloodstream of your immune system, they have to find a very particular cell, a helper T cell. And you think, hey, our bodies have so many cells. Why can't they just go and bump around the helper T cell? Well, it's going to be a library here. You're trying to find the exact helper T cell to the exact bacterium. There's, as we talked about in the last few videos, there's an exact solution to every problem. So, this would usually take a few days, but eventually, yes, they would bump into the helper T cell. If the helper T cell senses it is needed, they duplicate and duplicate and duplicate and go into the battle. Once they go into the battle, they don't fight. They wake up the other ones, kind of like an alarm clock. They wake up the macrophages to let them get more angry, which is very dangerous. Helper T cells also activate other cells, such as B cells, which produce antibodies. And they also activate, even sometimes at dire consequences, natural killer cells, natural killer T cells, which are basically their cousins. Finally, after you suffered that little particular injury, you would find your foot have little crust on them, or scab. And finally, a week later, you'd find, hey, my foot doesn't hurt anymore. In fact, your skin is new and fresh, with a little bit of scab and scars on there, but still healed. This is caused by platelets, which are which is like a movable hospital. They're like nets. They cover up your infection immediately after the puncture, and they also regrow cells. That's what happens if you puncture yourself, or known as the cut. That's what we're going to talk about next video, the cut, part 2. We're going to specifically talk about the dendritic cells and other cells. But for now, it's all done. Okay.